Hi! Thank you so much for being here. I hope that you're safe and doing well. So today is going to be the sixth video of my J Fashion Mythbusters series, where I talk to various people who are a part of the J Fashion community, talking to them about their various styles and just kind of talking about like different misconceptions that are out there on the internet and that people might have about it, and just kind of dispelling the myths and whatnot. So far, I've already done Fairy K, I've done Lolita, I have done 2 Gyaru videos, and the last video that I did was on Minhera with Puvi and Addie. And so today's video is going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be all about my personal favorite, of all time favorite fashion style that I'm currently wearing right now, Decora freaking fashion. I love Decora so much. I love it with all my heart. I love the Decora community so much. This is not so much going to be an interview, but more of a like fun hangout with 2 of my Decora friends. I've got these 2 iconic Decora kids, Prince and Kamilah, that I'm going to be hanging out today. I'm going to be talking all about Decora, all about it today. So yeah, let's go ahead and just jump right into it. Let's go. All right, so here I am today with Prince and Kamilah. So before we get started with the rest of the video, I just wanted to ask the both of y'all to give me just a quick introduction about yourselves, how you found out about J Fashion and Decora, and when did you find out about it, how long ago that was, and how long you've been wearing it. So yeah, basically just a nice little introduction. Whoever wants to go first, feel free to go right ahead.
I guess I'll go first because I said I'm trying to figure out, should I explain who I am first or how I got into this? I guess who I am. I'll explain who I am, and then I'll explain how we got here. Okay, so known as Kamilah, but a lot of the time people know me by my brand, Hard Decora, and that's mostly about like being aggressively cute, trying to combine, like, I don't know, I guess more like hardcore aggressive topics with the kind of cutesy, I don't know, defenselessness, I don't know, of being in like colorful fashions or pastels and stuff like that, kind of like, I guess that infantilization that sort of happens when people do that. So I kind of like to join those 2 things together in my brand. I do a lot of illustrations that get printed on the clothing or accessories. And most recently, I'm getting more into doing comics, which I hope to keep doing that and build that part of my brand a lot more. Yeah, I have a comic. Yeah, and I wear mostly Decora. I do wear other styles, but I end up decoratizing them. So too many accessories involved in anything else I try to do. How I got into this. How did I get here? In high school, I was reading a lot of manga, and one of the mangas that I read was like Gals, and I didn't really know at the time that was like, you know, alternative fashion or something. I just thought that was the way that the characters dressed in the story, and I had a type of like school uniform at the high school that I was going to at the time. And I was just like, man, I wish I can like spice up my school uniform, like wear things the way they're not supposed to be worn, but it's still the uniform, so they can't like tell me no. Awesome. And I did have a friend that like kind of helped me do that, a la like, okay, get a really big like school uniform like shirt, which was like a button up, and then wear your own shirt like under it, and then like you could stick buttons and stuff on the shirt or do something like that. And I was just like, wow, that's so cool. And she was a junior, so I thought she was the coolest. But we're still friends today. Yeah, and I used to get these like ballerina, I think ballerina scrunchy things where it has all those things sticking off of it, like kind of like little tutus for your ponytail holders and stuff like that. I got really into cat ears, Paw Star was really
Yeah.
my like go-to for like cat hats and accessory sort of things. And then I think more in college, I got onto Tumblr and saw that there were people wearing these different styles I had never heard of. I saw like Lolita, I saw Fairy K, I saw Decora, which I had no idea like what was the difference between any of these things. I was just like, they just dress colorfully. Like I think I definitely thought like Fairy K was Decora, stuff like that. I also liked more punk styles too. Like once I started seeing these things, it was just like, I want to wear all of these styles right now. And I definitely saw Prince,
Yes.
which was crazy. And yeah, so I was like seeing Prince and being like, oh wow, and like seeing your updates and things. And I was just like, wow. And then also like different gender expressions. Like if somebody shared my picture, someone would say, they're so beautiful. And I'm just like, why are they saying they? I don't know. What does that mean? Does that mean something? But yeah, I thought that was like Tumblr was just like a good place for like ideas and introducing me to these things. And then I think I started ordering stuff off of eBay that said they were Lolita, but were probably very much not.
I think we've all been there.
Yeah.
Yeah, like what is this? I don't know. It kind of looks like that thing, but not. Yeah, so I'm just like on eBay buying things, the controversial gothic Lolita wigs, and then going to anime conventions dressed sort of off or weird or something, and then seeing like someone in actual Lolita or something and being like, oh, whoa. So yeah, so I was trying to collect these things. I at first wanted to do more of a darker style, but then like I felt like in order to kind of do like a creepy cute style, I needed more like pastels. I needed those sorts of color schemes. And then I just started buying more colorful things. And then I never went back to the black part of it. I just stayed in the colorful zone forever, and just being like, yeah, this is gonna be cool. And yeah, and I thought of like 2014 when I graduated college, I thought of the brand name Hard Decora, because I wanted there to be like this like girl gang of like alternative fashion people.
Yes,
I love that.
And so that's how I kind of started like printing things onto clothing and doing some zines and stuff. But I saw that the clothing items would be get a lot more attention than the rest of the items that I was selling at the time. And I was just like, yeah, I'm gonna like go, neck deep into clothes. Met up with Lolita Collective at ASIN. They saw my booth, I saw theirs. It was just really awesome to get involved in the community actually, rather than just like seeing things online and doing things by myself. Yeah. I learned so much from being able to go to meets and speak to other people in different fashions, and even just like meeting up with you guys right now and like seeing like, oh, you're wearing this and you're wearing that. Yeah. And then we had a little break and like, I was just like, oh, I'm going to add some more accessories here. And like, it's kind of like instant inspiration for different things. So, so yeah, that's, I guess, how I got here.
All right. So my name's Prince. I'm non-binary and queer. I have been wearing Japanese street fashion, I think it's going to make me feel really old, but for about 13 years now. I've been wearing it solidly for 10 years, but I've definitely been involved for about 13 or so. I'm one of those people that are down the anime to J fashion pipeline naturally, but for me, it was actually Japanese music that got me more invested in Japanese street fashion. So I watched a lot of anime growing up as a kid, and then eventually I started to get really into Japanese music. So like Visual Kei, Oshari Kei, and J-Rock. And at the time, Oshari Kei was like really popular. So people like Sug and like On Cafe and like LMC. And part of the thing that made those bands and that genre different from Visual Kei is they were really into like trendy alternative fashion. So like On Cafe, for example, I was super into, and they worked directly with Sex Pot Revenge. So back in about 2008, I would say, I started getting really into like brands like Super Lovers, Sex Pot Revenge. And when I was a kid in middle school for my 8th grade graduation project, I did a project on Japanese fashion and pop culture. And through that, I learned so much more about J fashion and Harajuku fashion. And I sewed my own Lolita outfit, you know. But through that, I then discovered like Gothic and Lolita Bible, fruits, and Decora fashion. And then ever since then, I was just like super, super invested in Decora. I mean, as a kid growing up, I was one of those emo kids who like really wanted to be seen like desperately. So my fashion was already kind of weird, kind of colorful, and it just kind of needed that like extra little push. So I started to really gradually get into it. And at the time, I started going to anime conventions at a pretty young age. I was about 13 when I started going to cons. And so I would just wear all the outfits that I always really wanted to, and I didn't have courage for. And then eventually, when I reached 10th and 11th grade, I just kind of went all in, and I wore like, when I look back on it now, I'm always like, how did you wear that in high school? Like I know I like look like this, not this much, but like, I know I wear J fashion on the regular and I go out in public, but like when I think about the fact that like in 11th grade, I was wearing like circle lenses, false eyelashes, like wigs, like Decora to school.
Yeah.
Like I had to beat the bus at like 6:30. What?
Yeah, how were you? Yeah,
Like,
oh man.
I have literally no idea how I did it. But for a long time, I was also super invested in like fairy K fashion, but specifically like fairy Decora and like OTT fairy K influence things. And that lasted a couple of years, but at the end of the day, I still like just came back to the colorful, bright neon stuff. It's I don't know what it is about it. It's just like super addictive and it's super happy and bright and fun. And I still have all my old pastel clothes and I really love them. And now I experiment a little bit more and mix and match with everything. But there's something about the color explosion that's just, it's like so, I don't know, it's just charismatic and fun and it makes you happy like when you look at it. But after I graduated high school in 2013, because I'm old.
No, you're not. What?
Old. I know, I'm only 26 going on 27. I'm not that old.
Oh,
but,
no, I'm older.
Yeah.
I turned 30.
Really?
Yeah, I turned 30 in October 16th.
Oh my gosh. Happy birthday.
I feel so
in
much better.
advance.
Happy birthday. No, not that you're
Thank
older,
you.
but like that we're all like
Yeah, we're all in the
like,
same age
group.
Yeah.
And I love
Like-
that. I love that.
Me
Like,
too.
you know, we're close to like 30s and we still love to dress
Yeah.
colorfully. Like, I love that so much.
Yeah, especially with like Decora fashion, which I know we're going to talk about later with the association of like childish things, because there is such a stereotype of these kinds of clothes being associated with younger audiences. I think it's great that we're all in our late 30s, etc., and we're still wearing one of the most over-the-top alternative fashions.
We talked about the history of us, and now we are going to talk about the history of Decora. So do the both of you know by any chance like how exactly, because I know it's not like just one person who created it, and I've already kind of spoken to, I know the both of y'all know Chum, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, we did a video a while back where we talked about the history of Decora, because she's like looked into it and done her, I think, bachelor's or I can't remember.
I think it's master's, right?
Yeah, master's. I
think she has her master's
in Japanese street fashion. I don't quote me on that. It's something like that. So
yeah, like bunka,
it's something about
bunka,
or
something like that.
Something. She's
Oh yeah, so she's definitely, and she worked for.
She's legit.
Yeah, and she's worked for 6% Doki Doki, so she knows Sebastian Masuda, and I'm sure they've talked about it. But yeah, history of Decora. Do the both of y'all know a little something about
the history of Decora I know a decent amount, but when it comes to any kind of like Japanese street fashion, it's not like there's like a textbook you can open and like cite and be like, on this day.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
So
it's hard to talk about it.
I mean, Decora fashion, as we know it, it definitely evolved from the Harajuku fashion scene in the 1990s. Fruits fashion was one of the first individuals to catalog what was going on in Tokyo at that time as far as the fashion scene. His first book was published first magazine was published in 1997. And when you do digging on Decora fashion, some articles will say that it began in the late 90s, but I personally think it actually began in the early 90s up until about 95. Before we did our video, I did a little digging on Sebastian specifically, because even though he's not the creator of Decora, 6% Doki Doki's been around since 1995. And I did a lot of research to see what he thought about it, to get like a little bit more information from somebody that was there. In a lot of the articles I read, what he said was that in the 80s in Japan, a lot of fashion was focused on like monochromatic looks, simple silhouettes, colors. And in the 90s, with the overall fashion rebellion against Japanese fashion norms and uniform culture and like same culture, a lot of youth wanted to rebel against that by experimenting with fashion. And in the early 90s to like 95, some people say it's influenced by rave culture. Other people say it's music. You have all these different influencers from the time, like 6% Doki Doki, Tomoe Shinohara, J-pop idols of that time period. And I think all of those things combined definitely aided to the evolution of it. Not to like constantly talk about 6% Doki Doki, but that's like where the wealth of my knowledge comes from. You need a question about 6% Doki Doki, I am like obsessed, so I might know. But one of Sebastian Masuda's lectures, he said that when the brand began in 1995, it wasn't a fashion and accessory brand. It was essentially almost like a used goods shop that you would see like at an antique mall that just had lots of different things, all very colorful, funky, different things. And he said that the youth of that time would buy the things that he would sell, whether it be like curtains or a feather boa or a wall ornament, and they would use it as fashion. And that's what he said, that a lot of the kids during that time period, Decora probably evolved because people were seeking different means to express themselves through fashion. So you see fruits fashion, which is all, at least the colorful fruits fashion, it's a lot of layering, it's a lot of textures, it's a lot of color, it's a lot of unconventional materials and objects and like hairstyles that might not have previously been done before. And it's unique silhouettes. And over time, if you combine that with Tomoe Shinohara and her explosion of being on reality TV and a J-pop idol and her expression, that just, I've kind of like snowballed over time and evolved into the 2010 era of Decora, which is what most people associate with Decora nowadays.
Which is kind of the next thing that we're going to talk about, is the evolution. There's definitely, you can tell the different eras of Decora because it's like that fruits time in the beginning when it was first like kind of starting out, and then that late 2000s, that 2005 to 2010, it started spreading internationally. And people would use like their natural hair, a lot of like all pink or all dark with a lot of polka dots and a lot of layered socks.
All red too.
Yeah, all red too. And then we move on to that 2010s, which is boom, like super colorful neon, like over the top. And I feel like it was around that 2010s, early 2010s, which is like around 2012, 2014 is when Decora was like definitely very popular, because I remember seeing a lot of videos on YouTube. Instead of a Harajuku fashion walk, they had like a Decora meetup in Harajuku, and there were so many of them. Oh my gosh, I like
so jealous.
I know. The pictures from that meet is still like such an inspiration to me.
Me too.
yeah, they look, and then now here in 2021, in the 2020s, that's crazy. I can't believe it's been a decade since then. Like, I still feel like it's 2012, so it's so weird to think that, but like,
yeah,
I don't know. Yeah, definitely. You can tell that Decora has evolved since then. So what are your thoughts and your feelings about like the whole like evolution from how it first started and like the differences between when it first started? Because you did mention that people would use a lot of like feather bows, just like random stuff to create their outfits. And also something that we touched on before we started filming was that like people wear the focus on hair accessories was not as prevalent back then as it is now. Like people yeah so yeah. But yeah, what do the both of y'all think about the evolution?
Well, I only got into maybe wearing like Fairy K and Decora in like 2014 and stuff like that. So I feel like I didn't really like, I guess, get to grow through the stages, I suppose. I guess like I have like this weird thing of like, I do like a lot of like Decora and things like that, but then it's like I'm trying to just take what I like and from everything that I like kind of go through and things like that. So I'm just like, oh, okay, like I don't know about now, because now I feel like maybe people just want, maybe it's more of a pop K sort of thing of just like wearing more colorful items, but maybe it not being so many accessories, but it's still like a little bit more than the usual sort of outfit. But yeah, maybe it doesn't have to be that, like, I guess the classics, this classic Decora, but we did like our first like international Decora day sort of deal, and trying to like look at like people's outfits. I still feel like they're still very much inspired by the 2010s Decora fashion and stuff. I guess we would have to look at like, oh, what are people doing overseas and like in Japan? Is that still, I don't know, considered Decora sometimes? I'm not really like sure how it's being defined from the source. But I feel like when I look at the Western people wearing it, it's still like very much like, yes, hair accessories, hair color, having colorful hair. I guess I feel like maybe there's not as much layering of clothing. But I don't know. Yeah, a lot of people are doing it differently.
Yeah, I think that's what it really kind of makes the 2020s. I really hate saying that, but what makes the 2020s really different is Decora, like as a fashion style in like 2019, 2020, and 21, and like going forward, has gotten so large and diverse that even though it all makes sense together, everyone's Decora style looks different, and I think that's really cool. So going back to like the history and the evolution of Decora, when you jump from like fruit fashion style Decora to the early 2000s, it's we don't really have any resources on why people suddenly started to get like really into hair clips, because now that's such a staple in wearing Decora, and I can't really say why, besides probably Tomoe Shinohara. But besides that, after that jump from hair clips to bracelets to necklaces to the kind of silhouette vibe that we know of Decora today, after the 2010s, where there was like a lot of monochromatic looks, a lot of polka dots, I don't know pop culture or person or what made everybody shift, but like I feel like once everybody started really embracing rainbows and not just like a t-shirt and skirts or you know, like one solid color, once people really started embracing rainbows in the early 2010s, like that Decora walk that Tokyo Fashion photographed, everything just sort of changed from there, where I feel like it evolved in this way where everybody in their own communities took what they liked about it and then ran with that and developed their own unique style. And so now we're really blessed with this community that's just so visually unique and diverse, where it's like, yeah, we're all wearing Decora, but everyone's Decora looks so different. And that's what's really exciting about the fashion is everybody can interpret it in their own way. And like, you could do fruits fashion Decora, you could do 2010 Decora, or you could just completely do something different and new that like doesn't exist anymore, and it still like works. Another thing regarding the evolution that I forgot to mention, I think that the evolution of Hareko and Osaka also like really affected how the West viewed Decora a lot. So it's like really interesting that these subcultures in Japan and Tokyo are so small, but when the social media boom began, the exposure to them grew so much. Because like in retrospect, like Hareko wasn't like this huge thing, but because of like Tokyo fashion and the internet and some books that had it featured, so many people from the West were able to like see that and have exposure to it. And I definitely feel like the tie-dyes, the oversized vintage clothing, and like the hair and hats and the whole vibe of Hareko totally influenced how like we saw Decora through social media. Even though they're slightly different, I still think that like it helped in like the evolution of how Decora started to like change over time.
Right. I also, an annoying thing that keeps happening is like, I think I met someone who wore Lolita at a Hot Topic recently, and I was just like, oh wow, yeah, you're into Lolita and stuff. Like I'm into J fashion too. And I wear Decora, and you know, she just all like, oh, I remember Decora. I wore Decora in middle school. And so I'm just all like,
yeah, I have come across a lot of that where like people will wear, a lot of people who wear like other J fashion, like I feel like everybody had a Decora phase at one point where like a lot of Lolitas were Decora, people in like VK were Decora, like, but it's usually when they're younger.
Yeah, I actually
out of it.
like I got a comment on like my Facebook page recently because I posted, you know, because I make a lot of videos on Decora and stuff, and they commented like, oh my gosh, Decora is still a thing, like it's coming back. Like I used to dress like this in like 2009 when I was in middle school. Like this is wild. And I'm like, I mean, we've always just been here, like we never really like you know, it
was never really dead. It was just smaller, but it never left. I don't know. I hate the whole like XYZ fashion is dead thing, because as long as one person in the world still remembers it and likes it, like it's not dead. You know what I mean? And especially like when Decora was at its lowest, there were still people wearing it. Yeah, it was less of like a cultural phenomenon. There was like less people, but it doesn't mean that the style died off. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And plus it's always changing and evolving too. It's not going to be the same kind of Decora as it used to be either. So, you know, and new people are always joining, and people, you know, sadly some people leave, but that's just how it is. And this is not really a question in the list of questions that I made, but I also kind of wanted to touch on like the community aspect within the Decora like community. I feel like it's definitely quite different from other styles. Like with Lolita fashion, you know, they usually have like tea parties and they do meetups, and because Lolita is just so much bigger. And then Garu, they have their gal circles. But I don't know how it is with us. I feel like we're all so far away from each other, so it's tough. There's not that many of us either.
I think I kind of talk about this on like OK Podcast a lot, where it's just like Decora fashion has a we're so free and we're so like diverse, and like we don't have like a uniform. We're rebelling against the uniform, and I feel like that that stops that sort of like type of cohesion that the Lolita and the Garu community kind of like have, because there's like a unifying, like, this is what we all do. This is the unified manifesto. This is what we wear. Because then it keeps people being like, hey, am I like posting in the group being like, hey, I just got this thing. Am I putting it together like this? Or it's like everybody's got to help everybody create the the unified look. Whereas like our fashion is very individual journeys. We don't need to confer with another Decora person to figure out, am I Decora?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, we're just experimenting on our own to get to our own vision of ourselves. And it's just like, so it kind of stops that sort of cohesion thing from happening. But it also, it has the upside of like, oh, we don't have so much like gatekeeping or so much like, I guess like gossiping about somebody's look or something like that, because we don't have like a rule book or some sort of thing like that. Whereas like, I feel like Lolita and Garu, they have more of like this lifestyle and everything to live up to. And so that has its drawbacks and its pluses as well. But yeah, we don't really like have that. And sometimes I wish that we like had more of a thing, but I don't want there to be like, oh, we need a rule book now in order to create that. Like,
yeah,
I want there to be some other way of us doing it, but we're just, I don't know what would make that happen without some of those other drawbacks in a way.
Yeah, it's tough to kind of navigate that. But then I also love how you and Decora Demon started the International Decora Day. I feel like that really brought a lot of us together, which is really awesome. And I'm excited for the future of Decora Day. And I'm sure we can in the future maybe make like an actual in-person meetup. Maybe set up like some Zoom events and stuff that we can do, you know, of course, like, you know, it's just very exciting. And but yeah, I don't know, that's just, I guess that's something that we can all talk about as a community and work on together. But as you were saying, we don't really have like a rule book, because it's mainly to be considered Decora, like it's just layering clothing, layering accessories, because you're decorating yourself. So that's basically the main rule of it, you know. So
right. I think oh, what were you gonna say?
Go ahead. No, go ahead. Who are you? It's all good.
I think like something I hadn't really thought about before with Emptying the Clips comic, which is a comic strip about the trials and triumphs of two Decora kids. And right now it's hosted mainly on Instagram. And I feel like what we're ultimately trying to do that I didn't even realize is like kind of defining Decora culture of just like, what does it mean to be a Decora kid? What are the common like, you know, struggles that we have wearing our clothes? What are the common like, you know, successes or the things that we carry around? The other things that we do that are just like, we're not doing them together, but we all like kind of like deal with those things, but we don't like, since we don't really get to talk that much, we don't talk about how like, oh, well, you know, I straightened my hair and now all of my clips are falling down and just like, and that sucks. Oh man. Or like how many clips and stuff ends up accumulating in your bags or purses or backpacks that, you know, you're just like, I thought I lost this forever. Or like, I'm trying to find something else and I'm finding a bunch of clips, or kind of just like some sort of like commonalities that we like don't really get to share as a community. Cause like, I mean, Lolitas have like stuff Lolitas say, and it's just like, well, what about stuff Decoras say? We say things.
Like it would be nice if we had some kind of like a Discord, maybe, I don't know, like I would be lying if I said that I didn't have like FOMO for all the communities that like have stuff.
Hi there! Do you collect very specific accessories that no one understands? Do people say your fashion is dead? Do you ever feel like there are no spaces specifically for your style? What you need is the Empty Your Clips Here Discord for Decora Kids by Decora Kids. Link to the Discord is available on the etc_comic Instagram page. In the Decora Discord, there are a bunch of different channels for discussions where people can post their outfits of the day. If anybody needs any help for their Decora outfits, they've got any cool finds that they want to share, any memes. We also do a monthly server challenge where we have a candy of the month. If that sounds like something you're interested in, you are more than welcome to join the Empty Your Clips Here Decora Discord. All Decora
kids are welcome to join. Alrighty, now let's head back to the video. So I guess one of the misconceptions about Decora is that it has to be like an outfit that is super colorful, because we all know it doesn't have, Decora doesn't have to be colorful. Like it could be pastel, could be dark colors. There's dark Decora. You can mix fairy K with Decora, so fairy Decora. But how would you like differentiate a super colorful outfit from Decora? Like, let's just say somebody was wearing like a ModCloth rainbow striped dress and they had a rainbow headband on, versus like, would you consider that Decora? Like, how would you like say like, yeah, that's Decora? You know what I mean? Does that make sense? I don't know how to form the question.
No, I get it. I personally, for Decora, I think that there's a level of chaos to it that exists throughout any kind of color coordinate or like simplicity on the scale of like simple to OTT, where there's always a sense of mixing and matching, whether you're mixing and matching patterns, textures, fabrics, silhouettes. Something just like a rainbow ModCloth dress with like a rainbow headband would be like a cute rainbow outfit, but it's not necessarily Decora because you're not decorating yourself in a certain way. So one of the misconceptions about Decora is that, like, you know, you don't need a ton of hair clips to be in Decora. So then what exactly is the defining aspect is if you don't wear a ton of hair clips, you might decorate yourself in another way. So you might wear a lot of different layers in like a unique fashion, or maybe you have a lot of necklaces, or I don't know, you just have some kind of abstract thing that might be just like a little off compared to like a traditional fashion silhouette. So I think at the end of the day, it's all about like how you decorate yourself and like, it's how you decorate yourself.
Like like bringing back like fruit style Decora, they would decorate themselves with like little toys and trinkets and whatnot. So that's definitely that decorating aspect, and a lot more DIY for sure.
Yeah, a lot of DIY.
Yeah, I think that's what differentiates it, and that's what's like, if you wanted to mix Decora with different styles, that's what I feel like people can, you know, see it from a mile away when I'm like, you know, wearing Garu or Fairy K or Lolita. It's just all like, you wear Decora, don't you? And I'm just all like, yes. Doesn't matter the color scheme. It's just like, recently I've gotten a lot of like carpenter pants, and like I'm just like, oh, I want to wear more chains and stuff. And I'm just like, but I definitely am drawn to like, I need 25 chains though. Like, I can't do 2 chains. I have to like overdo the chains, and it's just like it's that like Decora influence that happens. So I think that's definitely a major differentiator between like that and like any other style.
Let's work on the next question. So more on the misinformation that is out there. So I like to do a lot of research, and I Google a lot of things on like various J fashion styles, and I looked up like on the Decora Japanese fashion wikia. I don't know if y'all have seen that page.
I
with
read
the
this
fandom
today, and I was like,
it says, and it's not just that. I guess like other articles, they quoted that wikia, and it said Decora is inspired by cartoon characters from the 80s and the aesthetic of 80s shows and themes. Characters like Strawberry Shortcake, Hello Kitty, Care Bears, Pokemon, and the Smurfs are all popular themes in Decora outfits.
You're talking about Fairy K?
No, it's the Decora. See, like so this is like my little secret, and I hope nobody gets mad, but every time I have been trying to remove that from the wiki for a couple of times now, because I feel like that's not an accurate statement, and I've never heard that anywhere else ever in my life.
I'm so glad we're on the same page with that, because I was also doing the same research, and I saw it and was like, that's weird.
Yeah, I don't
like
know
that
who
was like
keeps
my
putting it
initial
back.
reaction.
Like,
I think that like I did see an article that said that, but I don't know which one came first.
yeah.
So I was doing like research on like the history of Decorah just to like brush up some knowledge before the video. And I found an article that said those exact things. And I was like, like the chicken or the egg, like who said that first? Like maybe the wiki got it from them or like vice versa. But I think that like if you were going back to what we said previously, that we might not have the exact written history of like the beginning of Decorah. We technically don't know if it was inspired by 80s cartoons, but from our general like understanding of the fashion, those are themes that might be used in Decorah because Decorah is about accessorizing yourself with things you like. So people that like Hello Kitty, Rainbow Bright might utilize those because they're important to them. But to say that like the style developed from 80s cartoons and characters like Hello Kitty, I almost feel like is kind of doing a disservice to the people in the 90s that were doing like completely their own thing. You know what I mean? It's just, I feel like there is a very slight possibility that that might have aided in the evolution of it. But I would say, if you're going to say that like that's where it came from, it just feels a little inaccurate to me. I don't know.
Like it makes it seem like someone saw a cartoon character and was just like, oh, I want to dress in Decora. Like that's how that happened or something, like really simplistic. And I'm just like, you can be inspired by a collection of things like cartoon elements, toys, and you know, rave culture, you know, different things like that, and like put them all together and say like these people were like inspired by those things. But it's just like, oh, it's 80s cartoons, and I'm just like, that makes it seem like I almost felt like it almost sounds like kidcore if kidcore was like the thing of like 80s cartoons instead. I feel like kidcore is more like 90s cartoons, but
well, I'm glad you brought up kidcore, because that's another thing, because I'm quite active on TikTok, and I made a TikTok recently where I was talking about my style. I was like, yeah, I wear Decora fashion, and then in the comments a bunch of people were like, oh, I thought it was kidcore, and like I clearly explained, like, you know, it's about decorating yourself. But I guess because like the newer generation, I guess aesthetics are a lot more popular now, like something core at the end. So can Decora be considered an aesthetic is the question. It's a hard question to answer.
I feel like I'm like so new to the whole aesthetic thing. It's definitely like, as you were mentioning, it's like the newer generations like really into like different aesthetics, like kidcore or lovecore, or I don't even know what's popular. But I've seen them on TikTok. But I don't know. I've always lived, in my opinion, what's a Decora lifestyle where my whole wardrobe is Decora. Like my bedroom, like literally just has my stuff hanging. Like I collect toys and necklaces and knickknacks and all this stuff. And I've always like lived in what is my opinion, like a Decora lifestyle. And then just until a couple of years ago, people kept being like, oh, like you like live a kidcore lifestyle aesthetic. And I've always been like, I don't really know. Like I know what kidcore is now.
Right.
But, it's really hard to differentiate, in my opinion, like what's the difference between like a fashion style and aesthetic. I guess, you know, an aesthetic is an overall mood or like a mood board, and could be applied to things that are not just fashion. And the only time where that line gets blurry is a lot of people that dedicate themselves to J fashion dedicate their whole lives to it. So other fashion styles that might not be as alternative might not be aesthetics because they might just be your clothes, whereas we have a tendency to dedicate more time and energy in our personal surroundings into it. So Decora is a fashion style, yes, but it is also like my lifestyle. But that might not be the same for other fashion styles. I don't know if anything I said just made sense.
That totally makes sense.
You
hit the nail right on the head with like, when we're most of people get into J fashion, they dedicate like a lot of different facets of their life to J fashion and whatever. Like, so it influences, like our interest influences like how we decorate our apartments, maybe how, you know, what color car we pick, or, you know, yeah, just like how the nails that we do, or the artwork that we draw, or stuff like that. And so for there to be this other thing of just like, oh, aesthetics, and it's just like this feel, like, you know, and vibes, and all of those feels, it's just like, oh, like, I don't know if it's just like, oh, they're words that define the same thing of like what we've already been doing. And maybe we're just like, I don't know, I didn't take the time to say like, oh, well, it's a Decora, you know, aesthetic that I'm going for in my home. I'm just trying to like, you know, pick whatever that I like. And sometimes that's not even like, that doesn't match all of the clothes that I wear. It's just like, oh, I like pastels and stuff for my apartment and things, and I don't have a rainbow, you know, a color scheme as my thing. I don't always wear rainbow, so it's like, am I living a kid core aesthetic or this thing aesthetic? I'm just like, not really. I'm just getting everything that I like. I'm not really concerted in whether or not it matches. I feel like Garu has that of just like other parts of their life, the decorations, things that they do, like that's like they have a lot of lifestyle elements and stuff to draw from, whereas like Decora, I feel like that's mostly just the style of clothing, but maybe our sort of like thinking about it applies to other things, like collecting. I think we're all very much into collecting.
We're like little goblins that just want to everything.
So I could love the collecting, DIY, trying to make the things that we wear, or we're very creative. We'll see something and be like, oh yeah, that could be an accessory, that could be this.
Yes,
I can do this to it. And it's like a lot of like found pieces. So I feel like, lots of experimentation. So I'm just like, I think that's just like a Decora mindset, maybe more than like I don't know anything else.
My favorite.
Oh, sorry. Oh no, it's just agreeing.
No,
go ahead.
It's okay. I'm sorry that I keep derailing. I'm probably the reason why this is so long. But my favorite Decora headpiece that I have, going off of like finding things and making things. I wore it at Katsucon a couple of years ago. It's this giant popsicle that I built a headpiece for, where it's a popsicle and it like looks like it's like melting on my head. I was in just like a store like TJ Maxx or whatever with my best friend Mina, and there was this foam popsicle back scrubber, and I picked it up and I looked at Mina and was like, haha, what if I put this on my head? And then we stood there in silence, looked at each other, and I went, okay, but what if I put it on my head?
Now seriously.
I did.
I see, that's what we're so like, we just find the randomest things and we just put it on ourselves. And I love that about this style. It's so like, I went to Spirit Halloween the other day. People go there for costumes, but I was just looking for accessories to wear with Decora. I found this like piñata headband.
I'm obsessed. That is so cute.
Isn't that so cute? I died when I saw it. Well, so I guess that's kind of I don't know if like the aesthetic thing is a misconception, but are there any other misconceptions or misinformation about Decora that just like don't sit well with you, that you kind of want to dispel and talk about it? We did talk earlier on about the whole like how Decora is not trying to dress like a child, you know? So I guess that's one thing we could talk about.
That's definitely one of my biggest issues. And I understand the desire for strangers or people that aren't knowledgeable about the fashion to make the association with childhood and childlike things, because if you never seen someone in this sort of alternative fashion before. I like, what are you supposed to think? You know what I mean? Like it definitely like comes with the look, but I don't love being associated with like dressing as a child. And I think that's like why with the evolution of aesthetics over time, although I really like the kidcore aesthetic, I really shy away from it because I don't like to associate my interests with me going like, oh, like I'm an adult, I like this one thing. It's not just for kids, you know what I mean? Like I'm not trying to be a kid, it's just something that I like and that I love. And like I said, I can't like blame people for thinking that. Like I have a party hat on my head. You know what I mean? Like I'm like holding a toy duck that I wear. Like I totally get it. But you know, everybody in Decora just gravitates to things that they like because they like it. There's no like, well, I don't want to say I don't want to make a blanket statement, but for the most part, there's not like an ulterior motive of like embracing childhood. Maybe for some people it is, and it brings them comfort. But at the end of the day, the fashion itself isn't about looking like a child. And as like a grown adult, I don't like being associated with that, even though I know I look like a child. It's a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
Right.
I feel like it also has to do with like society's idea of like they think colorful stuff is just for kids, but it's not. You can be an adult and wear colorful stuff. I really do not like that thinking of just like once you hit 18, all beige, all black and beige and like plain clothes, you know.
Right. Yeah, and I feel like it like the stigma a lot with like rainbow, because it's just like, because then if you wear maybe, I guess there's the millennial pink, like that's okay. That's the one color that you can be okay. Rose gold and that sort of like color.
It looks like salmon.
Yeah. I feel like that's what I settle for when I'm looking for a decoration, and they're just like, well, they have it in rose gold, so I guess I'll get that one.
Yeah, I feel that.
But yeah, I think the association with like children, to the point where some people might think you have some sort of like disorder or something, and it's just like, no, I'm not like fetishizing children, and I'm not like trying to like stay a child or any sort of thing like that. I have a job, I pay
my
taxes
bills. Pay my bills.
I'm married, we have children, children, and like I'm just like I'm 30. Well, I'm getting used to saying I'm 30. I'm 29 technically. But yeah, so I'm just like, I'm not a child. And if you could, when I say that I'm not one, just regard to me as such. But it's kind of like difficult to separate those two assumptions. Also that means that I want to talk to people. I don't want to talk to people just because I'm dressed in rainbow clothes does not mean I'm just like, I'm just here to talk to anybody, free hugs, I'm just like, no, I am just the same as a punk person. Like I'm extra, don't talk to me.
We're human too.
Right, exactly. I'm just like you. It doesn't mean that like, because some people, I remember going to the zoo and like I think like a Lisa Frank themed outfit or something, because I was trying to do like some sort of animal theme, and people are coming, oh my gosh, can my child get a picture with you? And then I'm just like, it feels like I'm like a character at like I'm a Disney. Right. Like people lining up to take. I'm just like, oh, okay, well.
I'm trying to like enjoy the zoo.
Right. I was just like, oh, okay. Like I don't like work here or anything as, costumed mascot or something. I'm just a regular person.
Yeah.
So,
and like not to say like it's a terrible thing. Like it's not like we hate it or anything. We don't like, we're not like, oh, like I hate you people for doing this. It's just that we would, I don't know. It's like, we're human.
It's so complicated.
Yeah, it's a complicated thing.
I think we all like recognize that we like look different, especially with Decora out of so many different J fashion styles. Like it is loud, it's like explosive, it's colorful, it's a lot. And so like going out in public, like I expect people to have questions or want to know more about it. And most of the time I'm pretty good about it, but I will say after like wearing the fashion for over a decade, it just kind of gets exhausting, you know, where like there's only so much of myself I can always like give to strangers, where it's like I can't go outside without an old person coming up to me and being like, what's this all about?
Yeah.
Yes.
What's this all about?
It's so confrontational a little bit too. Like you have to tell me what this is, because like and it's even crazier when I'm not super, like I'm trying to blend in, but somehow they still sense that I'm different. And they're just like, so what's this all about? And they're just sitting there waiting there for you to like explain. And I'm just like, I don't even know where to start. You saying, what is this all about? Like I brought a problem to you. And like I have to answer this puzzle for you. And then when you give them the explanation, sometimes it's not good enough for people. They're just like, okay, but like, are you wearing this all the time? Like, do you work? Like, they're just like, I'm just like, wow.
Oh my gosh.
It's not enough. I'm just like,
so
you need a whole reality TV series.
It's never enough. Right? I always tell people, unless like somebody has a very specific question, like if they're like, oh, like where does this fashion come from? Like, you know what I mean? If they like bring up that it's fashion, or maybe if it's like a parent with a child, I'll give them more information. But I'll be honest with you, like if people come up to me and they're like, so why are you wearing this? Like, what's this all about? Instead of telling them about my outfit, I tell them like what I'm doing for the day. So I'll be like, oh, I'm just going grocery shopping.
I love that.
And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, this is just what I'm wearing to go grocery shopping. Like I've just been wearing it too long where I'll just shut that conversation off really fast. And just like be on my way.
No, that's smart though, because people think that you can't dress like this when you go doing just anything in general, but you can. Who says you can't? There's no rule for that. You can wear Decora to go grocery shopping. Like,
so I'll just be like, I'm on errands, or I'm doing this today. It's just
going to the mall.
Like, what do you mean what I'm doing?
You don't need a special reason. You don't have to go to a party to dress like this. You don't have to like be making TikToks or whatever, you know. It's like we wear this because we love this fashion and because it makes us happy. That's just literally it. There's nothing more to it.
I want there to be like, not this misconception that if you wear this fashion, your main goal has to be become J fashion icon on the internet. Like you don't have to like try to rack up all these followers and stuff, but that's not what like wearing different alternative fashions is about. It's about like coming more into yourself in like I guess a visual way and stuff like that. So it's not just like I don't know if it's like a Lolita phrase or something about like going far in the fashion or something like, oh, they went far in the fashion. And that kind of means that like they became popular or something like that. And I feel like, oh, is that like what a lot of people want when they wear the clothes and things like that? They want to, I guess, become popular in it. And then like, I feel like that's a quick way to burn out from wearing the styles or slowly phase it out. Because if that's say not happening, or even if it does happen or starts to happen, then it just starts to feel more and more like a costume, more like a I don't know, work outfit or something, rather than something you just genuinely enjoy wearing.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, it's like you're still in the community if you're not an Instagram icon.
Exactly. And one of the questions was, can anyone wear Decora fashion? Like, absolutely. There is no,
oh my gosh,
like you don't have to have like a ton of followers or whatever, you know. you don't even have to post it online. You can wear Decora for yourself. It's not for anyone else but you. So yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You don't have to like document all of your outfits.
Yeah. And it's like it's nice to have those online communities where you can post stuff and interact with people, but like in my personal experience, I've definitely laid on the brakes of it with like Instagram and other social media, because you kind of like reach a point where you feel like you're only wearing clothes to post a picture, and you're only wearing clothes to get an interaction. And after you start to do that for a while, the spirit of Decora and J fashion changes from I'm wearing this for me to like I'm wearing this for social media, and it's like such a fine line. And so like for the viewers, you know, at home, I don't look like this every day. Like this is this is like my OTT Decora style, but like I still wear like fruit fashion, rainbow fashion, and like accessorized Decora on the daily. But I've noticed that I've barely posted those photos like on Instagram, and it's kind of freeing because it takes me back to my roots of just like wearing this because I love it and like not for others. And I do want to share it, and I want to share the love, but you know, the battle with social media is like so personal, and it's definitely gotten harder with like COVID and lacking that personal interaction. But for me, I had to like slow down a bit so I could do it more for me again and like not for the internet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
But there's that pressure to post, definitely, which sucks.
Feeling the same way. And yeah, I feel like COVID kind of like put an exclamation point on that, because everything went so far into like, well, everything's social media now. And I mean, there's other ways on the internet to kind of like slow that down. I kind of want to get more back into blogging and that's why I'm doing more comics and just like other forms of like media expressing my love of J fashion. I totally just stopped posting on Instagram and Facebook for like probably a while now, maybe like some months or something like that. And I'm just like, because it really affected my illustrations too, of just like I need to be creating something that can be posted right away and that would be well received. And I'm just like, I can't do that all the time. I have long-term projects that I'm just like, I just want to spend time on it rather than trying to figure out when I can get to the next milestone that's postable. So I'm just like, I'm just, you know, I'm gonna just wait it out until like I'm ready to post, ready to share it.
It's so hard though, as like artists and creators that, you know, we rely on social media to, as creators and artists, and the problem with
to make any sort of sale.
And it's hard because algorithms will punish you for not posting, and that's something I suffer with my art. So I do like J fashion inspired art, and it's time consuming, and I love it, and I want to, you know, create a business out of it, you know, what I'm working towards. But the problem is, it's like, if you don't constantly post on social media, then these algorithms punish you, and then you start to feel like no one's seeing your stuff. So it's like this awful balance as a creator of trying to not be obsessed with social media and let it ruin your mental health, but also having to post just enough so your content's pushed forward.
Right. I suggest an email thing where then you can like just like have an email newsletter, so then you know at least people like just other facets of ways of communicating with people, I guess. But yeah, I'm gonna make a blog post on it because I'm just like, I think the community would, because I'm just all like, oh, we should talk about that. It's okay to feel like you don't want to post on social media, and not in just the way of like, I'm going on a detox. I'm just like, you know, there's activism in that, and that's part of wearing these fashions as well, trying to look a little bit deeper into like, you know, beyond just like I'm feeling a little down on it. It's just like, well, these social media companies are not that great either, and maybe if you do have the privilege of like, you know, being more purposeful about how you use it, then we should like think about it. But I don't know. Yeah, I don't want to take it over with that.
Totally.
Yeah, social media is just a whole other thing that we can definitely talk at length about. But the last question that I have for the both of y'all before we have to go, do you have any advice for people who are new to Decora? They want to get into it. Like, how would they, get started?
All right. So I was kind of thinking like, I wish I got more into like the DIY aspect like sooner. And I feel like making your own accessories, making your own hair clips and stuff like that, ordering things like cabochons and stuff like that off of Etsy, or even like people do it off of AliExpress somehow and stuff, or even cheaper, I guess. But making your own things and like getting into that, because I think that's going to be so helpful in the future when you're ready to like make your style more unique. You'll have like, I guess, the skills and the sensibility to like make those things happen. Yeah, I kind of wish I did that more. Also, just like, remember, it is a journey. It takes a while to make these collections of items, and that's not something that will like ever, like, I guess, like end. It's not like, oh, okay, I got these 3 pieces and now I'm wearing Decora all the time. Like, it's it takes a while to do that, and it's okay. Nobody's gonna come down on you, especially not in like this community. Like, we're kind of like all putting together random things and trying to make it work. So yeah, it's a journey. Enjoy it. Yeah.
Yeah, you got this.
Just to kind of keep your eyes out wherever you go, kind of keep it in the back of your mind. Like, I get so many hair clips from, like Target and Walmart, but also kind of like in the weirdest places, you'll find the coolest things for Decora. And kind of anybody getting into alternative fashion, my biggest recommendation is to maybe get like one statement piece, as I call it, like one thing that really radiates Decora energy, or Fairy K, Lolita, etc. And then do a lot of thrifting. There's nothing wrong with thrifting some clothing, trying it out, and if you don't like it, you can just donate it, like wash it and donate it back. But that way you can, keep your funds in control. You can experiment with a lot of things, and you can take that one statement piece item and then like continue building from there. And then just like look wherever you are if there might be something that you want to get to decorate yourself with. Like I've gotten hair clips at the toy store down by the beach.
Right.
Like, so cute. And you never, it's not like you go to the beach to the toy store to get hair clips for Decora. But I was just happened to be there and I found it and it worked. So it's not going to happen overnight, and that's okay. It wouldn't be fun if it happened overnight and it was super easy. It's fun because it's the journey that you're going on over time, and you learn about yourself and what you like, and that's what's great about it. I don't know.
Right. And you don't have to do it the way that somebody else is doing it. You don't have to be rainbow. I switch it up all the time. A lot of the time I'm pastel. I don't even do rainbow a bunch. And I'm just like, I like that. If you're into like punk or more darker styles, I saw some people during International Decora Day doing what I guess punkora or darkora or something like that. I did like a punkora outfit, and then saw someone else doing like some darkora sort of thing or something like that. So I'm just like, you can totally do that as well. It doesn't really matter. There's no defined like silhouette. If you don't like wearing dresses, you don't have to wear dresses. If you don't like wearing pants, you don't have to wear pants. You wear shorts or skirts,
just make it work.
Tutus, or you could just like do just about anything. Wide leg, skinny jean, doesn't matter. Middle part, side part. It's fine.
And then I guess like at the end of the day, never feel pressured to ever commit to one style or aesthetic. Like at the end of the day, like you're doing this for you and it's your life and you want to have fun. Like, don't put yourself in this box where you're like, I love rainbow decor, so that's all I can wear. No, like feel free to experiment and have fun. And then also like I wear decor all the time and like consider myself like a lifestyler, but like everybody has bad days. Like you are not less of a decor enthusiast if you don't wear it. If you're having a bad day, don't wear it. Like it's fine. Don't ever put that pressure on yourself to do something you don't want to do.
Right. You don't have to have a Decora job or something where like it allows you to wear Decora and everything like that. You might not even want to wear Decora or something like that at your workplace. I had a workplace where I've worked places where I could wear it, but I'm just like, I don't want to be wearing this the entire time. Like,
it takes
I've got
a lot
all
of
these
energy
accessories in my face.
Yeah.
And yeah, it takes a lot of energy. Then people are going to be asking me about it the entire work day, and like, oh, what is she going to wear today? What's this? And I'm just like, I can't do I can't deal with that all the time. So,
and it can get kind of uncomfortable too, like all the accessories, because that's the question I get a lot. Is it uncomfortable? The honest truth, yes, it is uncomfortable. That's just, I mean, you can't, there's not really much you can do about it, so that's how it is. Before we say goodbye, just any last things that you want to promote that might be coming up, or like, because Kamilah, you have your shop, Hard Decora, the comic, and
Hard Decora, the comic.
Yes.
Emptying the Clips, etc_comic on Instagram. I also co-host a podcast called O-KEI podcast with Hayden. And we talk about various issues in the J fashion community. So if you're, want to learn more about the community and how we interact, we do a lot of interviews and stuff there. So
awesome. And thank you. And Prince, you have your Art Cute Revolution.
I'm making art, I'm selling art, and hopefully do commissions this month, and by the end of the year have my shop open. So if you like Decora and J fashion, I make really cute art with it, and I'll give you all the links to put in.
Awesome. I'm so sorry for rushing this end part, but I really appreciate both of your time and knowledge. Alrighty, so that was the end of our Decora J Fashion Mythbusters video. I'd like to thank Prince and Kamilah again for their time and for all their knowledge. I really enjoyed the interview, and I definitely felt like it wasn't so much an interview like the other videos that I've done so far already. Felt like more of a nice hangout with 3 Decora friends. So I hope that y'all enjoyed this video. I hope that you've learned something new today and that it was helpful. I apologize that the ending was kind of rushed there, and that the editing in this video is a little wonky because we had quite a number of technical difficulties, but it's all good. But thank you again for watching, and I hope that you have a lovely day. I will see you next time. Bye-bye. Bye.